Next, we're going to add our render nodes in order to render our scene in our monitor view. Before render settings, as you're going to want to use are ArnoldGlobalSettings, RenderSettings, RenderOutputDefine, and Render. And we'll go over each one of those individually. So as usual, to start out, hover over Node Graph, hit Tab, and do ArnoldGlobalSettings. Drop it in, connect it up, green for attributes, and you will see that this is where you're going to do your samples. It's just like the Arnold Renderer tab under Render Settings in Maya. You've got your AA samples, diffuse, specular, subsurface, etc. You also have environment to add your atmosphere, settings. All right, for now we're just going to leave it as default. The next thing we're going to do is do Tab, and we're going to do Render Settings. And this is going to set up our camera view that we're going to render. All right, and we're going to connect it up. Green for attributes. And in the camera name, you want to drop in the name of the camera that we had previously set up with the prim create and referenced in. So we did not name it under camera. As you can see in our scene graph, there is no path of that. So we're going to grab our render cam with a middle mouse button and drag it right into that spot. Now we're rendering from that camera. Next thing we're going to do is our renderer, and there's a drop down for any renders that you have set up with Katana. We're going with Arnold. Resolution, there are some usual sizes that you can pick from, or you can pick or type in exactly what you want. My scene is a 1920 by 810, and in order to make it 1820 by 810 in your screen, you want to change this no adjustment to adjust height to match resolution, or width, either one. All right, and that'll set you up for your render settings and camera view. The next thing you want to do is Tab or File Explorer. Then you want to put in File, and it'll come up with a location setting, drop down, and then you can browse for the area. For example, I put mine in images, let's say render test, and then I'm going to put in there what I want to name the file. So let's say we want to name it version 5, revision 6, and frame 0, and then .exr would be at the end. If you want to do a sequence, of course, you just do pound, and that'll do your sequence for you. Accept it, and that's where it's going to be saved. Then the last one is your actual render button. So render, put render, drop it in, hook it up. There's nothing to do on this one. You can check the attributes. There's nothing that you need to do. This is going to be to where you actually push the button to render your scene. So if you right click, you have preview render, live render, and then disk render. We'll go over other ones as needed. Preview render will just preview it in the scene. So if you hit preview render, it's going to preview and render out our scene based on our camera. Now notice it is now 1920 by 810, but it is black. Why is it black? Well, as lighters we know, there are no lights in our scene. So until next time, where we can set up a Gaffer 3 node, which will explain all of our lights in Katana. See you then.